Hi everybody, my name is Darin Zaruba. I'm the president and founder of Eco Cabins, ecocabins.com, as well as the Tiny House Jamboree, and that's tinyhousejamboree.com. We are really excited to be a part of a new format called the Tiny House Summit. It's an online live streaming presentation with some of the leaders in the industry talking about their topics of expertise. So with my companies, Eco Cabins is a builder and a manufacturer of all different types of structures, whether it's a tiny house, a commercial building, or what we call simple, smart, and sustainable living. That's our niche in the tiny house movement. The Tiny House Jamboree, if you haven't heard about it, is the nation's largest gathering for tiny houses, tiny house enthusiasts, minimalists, simple living advocates, vendors, products, a whole bunch of stuff. I think we had 50 to 60,000 people last year in Colorado Springs, and we look forward to having even a bigger event next year. A word on the Tiny House Summit. This is a new format that we're really excited to jump into. It's going to be January 23rd through the 27th. And like I said, there's going to be some keynote speakers on there. I think about a dozen or so. I'm one of them. And you can listen to it live. You can ask questions. You can download the video later. So we're really excited to be a part of this kind of new technology and getting the word out there, especially if you aren't able to make it to something like the Tiny House Jamboree, where we talk about topics of importance in the emerging movement and the industry. You can register for the summit on ecocabins.com or tinyhousejamboree.com as well, and reserve your place in there. There will be some more information on the websites. My topic in particular is going to be about coding and zoning and how those two things match up. So I always call it the onion theory, where you have two slices of an onion where the rings of the onion have to match exactly when you're dealing with tiny houses or any type of building for that matter. Eco Cabins as a manufacturer has to adhere to the building code of what a unit is built to before we know whether it can sit on the zone or the ground that it's on. So building codes are complex in and of themselves. We build through our factories, we build everything from tiny houses that can be coded as an RV or coded as an IRC, a residential code, or even coded as a commercial, an IBC product. So we build the unit that could look exactly the same as those other codes, but we build it to where it's going to sit. And again, those rings of the onion have to match. The zone that it's going to refers to the municipality, the city, the county, the state, and the federal requirements of where something is going to be placed. As an example, I always tell people, if you're going to try to put a tiny house on wheels, even if it is built to a code, an RV code or a housing code, if you're going to try to put a tiny house on wheels in the middle of Manhattan or Beverly Hills, it's not going to happen. Those two things have to match, and it is a complex issue. There are some leaders in the movement that have done a lot of great work. Most of them have spoken at the Jamboree about their efforts, all the way from California to Florida. One in particular, a friend of mine, Andrew Morrison, has done a lot of work with his crew on some movement within the International Building Code, the IRC, International Residential Code, on getting tiny houses approved to go into different zones. The first step is on the foundation, so they addressed a lot of things about ceiling heights and stair widths and things like that that were issues in the tiny house movement. So I can update everybody on that and what that means to the movement as well. So that was a great big step, along with a bunch of a bunch of different areas in, like for instance, Colorado and Walsenburg and other cities around the nation. They have and are now adopting different policies or variances for different types of tiny houses, not always just tiny houses on wheels, and we will discuss that as well. But we have some infographics that are free that are going to tie into this. And again, I'm going to go into great detail about this topic, along with manufactured housing in general and the movement in general. So we're really excited to be a part of this. Again, the Tiny House Summit